Welcome to True to Blueprint. And every time I come on, it seems like we just lost. And we had won all these games, 4 games before that. A whole California road trip of just great hockey. We're playing so good now. We're playing the way we need to, and we should have this sort of swagger now. First of all, it's 5-2, the score. 2 of those goals were empty net goals, all right? So it's 3-2 in terms of being fully outplayed. And I know a lot of you think one of those goals shouldn't have counted. I don't know. That rule is so nebulous that who the hell knows what it means. It means what they say it means that night. And I'm getting used to that. And you got to move on, because I think the team didn't move on. And then they lost the game over it. But they are now at the point where they can say, yeah, we were off that game. We did things, but they don't really have to worry about losing their winning ability.
So is that when a coach can say we're hitting our stride?
I would say, I don't know if they're to the stride point yet. You're talking about high form sports metaphors. I'd say they are officially in the lead out of the starting gate. Are they the leading team in the league? I don't know. I haven't seen them all. I have to use my eyes. Y'all read people and go, well, now I know for sure what's going on. Not me. I use my hockey sense. Because, why would God give you that hockey sense? I'm trying to start a whole thing now with the people.
Hockey sense.
Hockey sense.
Is that like a spidey sense, like your intuition?
Well,
for many, many years of watching games and studying and
right, exactly. It's me reading a million articles, watching, I don't think a million games, but probably over 5,000. No, it's way over that. That's ridiculous low amount. And watching it a certain way. The first 8 years of my hockey fandom, I just watched hockey. Yay, they got the puck, they scored. Now, starting when I was in my early teens, it started to become highly serious for me. Because of my tendency to want to see patterns.
right.
And this confounded all pattern finding that I could see. So it wasn't easily solved for. And that to me was like freaking fascinating as hell. Just a little bit.
So you've been doing this a long time.
I've been doing this a long time.
Close to 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years. And when you pay attention at the level almost till you're driving people crazy, they don't want to watch with you. I know. Oh, Doug. My erstwhile, is that what we're going with here?
Yes.
My erstwhile husband, he really got fed up watching with me, because I don't like to back down, you guys. I'm not capable of that.
It's like the Siskel and Ebert of the hockey world, only you're Siskel and Ebert.
Well,
no, I can appreciate this, because I have a husband that don't go to movies with him because he will not critique them with me. It drives him crazy when I come out of a movie and want to talk about it.
Oh my God, that's something we have in common.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's the Siskel and Ebert thing, and it's the idea that it's so easy to understand it, so why don't you? Okay? Well, once you get your understanding raised to that level, you're not being arrogant. You're not being a bitch. Being sure of yourself. And like I said, I won't admit that I'm not figuring it out from my experience, right? Because that will be a goddamn lie. I will admit when I'm wrong. And I will come forth and say thank you very much. Because I needed to be right about this sport, about the way I look at this sport. And you helped me see that. And, I'm sorry. It's you'll never catch me going to the lowest common denominator. I'm not going to run clickbait. It's not in my nature. It's not in my character. And it certainly isn't in my intellect. So let's talk hockey, and let's start with Shakespeare so we can come right down to earth here.
Awesome.
This is an easy one. All things are ready if our minds be so. We have physically and resource-wise everything we need. All we got to do is decide we're going to win, and that's the swagger. course, Mike, on his news conferences. Pieces. If someone said, Mary, say your husband said, Mary, we're all ready to go. We're just missing a couple pieces of leaving. Okay. Would you think he meant like one thing? Or do you think he means more than... What would you think he meant by that?
I would think there's a couple of things that we need to get.
Exactly, a couple. And that's what all the Toronto fans jumped to that conclusion. Mike, please be careful with these words, unless you were careful. And that's what I think, and I want to float this past you. What if you were pretty sure you knew what was going to happen with Nylander, and you knew he was one of the pieces coming back?
And I didn't want to play my hand. Yeah.
Well, you can't. He's
show my hand. Yeah.
He'd be fired.
Then I would.
No, he wouldn't be fired.
I would be very subtle in how I say it.
Right. Yeah. I think I don't like that sort of rumoring, and I'm not going to report here that it's true. I believe it for sure, but I tell you that I would go with that. It was suspicious to me, but it may just be optimism on his part. He may just be thinking, until somebody tells me to plan without Nylander, I'm planning with him. And as long as he's not on the ice, he's missing. And Austin's missing 2 pieces. But,
that actually makes perfect sense.
And I think that's, if I were to report something, that would be my report. However, I can't automatically rule out the idea that he actually is telegraphing something he knows. But if he's likely to do that, what's the likelihood they would let him know? This is like, what do they call that place in Russia at the Kremlin? They call it the what? Something. The Politburo.
What?
The Politburo.
Okay.
Well, okay. I was brought up with the fear of the bomb coming from communists, okay? This whole generation was. That's why you young people going, so it's Russia, so what? And I go, I don't have an answer to that. However, we grew up and we knew that it was dangerous. Those people are bad. Anyway, it's so silly. It is so silly. And I don't expect
They are very, very bad people.
Yeah, well, you do those bomb drills and they go hide under your desk for a nuke. Yeah, that's going to work. All right. You start to learn about the nature.
That's just so they know where to find the
right,
dust that used to be a body.
Right. You don't have to look through all of it, just under those desks. Anyway, well, if the desks survive, you know, everything gets vaporized. All right. Okay, all the time I hear, and it was one of the first things I heard about this in the pop culture was the Cubs can win, and so can we. The Chicago Cubs. Okay. I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. Because, A, the way Chicago won recently. Not that recently, kids. And do they look like they're winning again? They get close, they fade. They get close, they fade. They have a fan base who couldn't care less now. They used to have the most devoted fan base in the world. And now their fans are just like any other fans, demanding a winner. Go buy us something. Would you just buy us something? What have you done for us lately? I'm telling you, the Cubs winning will be the beginning of the end of baseball. Baseball's charm was based on places like the Cubs. And the Red Sox, well, don't tell me that. Because unlike the Cubs, the Red Sox were always good. Their story also is excellent, and I probably would have liked it better if they didn't win. But the Cubs were miserable. They were us. And
which one was the Susan Lucci of the baseball world?
Well, both of them. I mean, when you're talking about 86 years, you're pretty much at when that's but the stupid people at Wrigley, the Cubs, they never won ever. All of baseball history, played for the whole thing, never won.
So they were Susan Lucci.
Absolutely, and the whole, right across the street basically from them is the Chicago White Sox. You know, we don't have anything quite like that, but Ottawa ain't far. And Buffalo isn't far. These people have come close and won, okay? They've had championship level teams, and we haven't, okay? This is something that that we have to deal with is that the Cubs had the White Sox, who actually humiliated all of baseball. Don't get me started, though, because I don't think, they should have been so quick to throw.
And this is a hockey vlog. So.
It is a hockey vlog, but these people talk about the Cubs like this is some direct message from God. The Cubs did it. That's how you're going to do it. No, they lucked into it. Okay, I know you can look at this whole thing as the same, bring in somebody from the outside you didn't have before who never was with the organization, and they build the winner. But this is being done so differently. And if you don't realize that all of the culture is going to change if this works perfectly, but I don't know if anybody can even notice that that's happening. You have to learn to expect a winner. This is a big thing. I don't know, did Shanahan mention it 4 times, 5 times in the blueprint? Well, guys go out, they be treated like they were some kind of champion just because they were hockey players, and they never tried. They didn't even have to work hard. The culture. The culture. Mm-hmm. When he says the culture, he's talking about you too, all right? You don't have to make a big video deal out of what you're going to tell your players to do. That culture was hard enough. And the front offices and all the mindset of no leaking. This isn't going to be leaked. All right? But you guys also, you got to stop demanding tomorrow we win. Stop demanding we spend all the money we have. Stop it. It's really, I'm not telling you because it's bad for the team. I'm telling you because it's bad for you. When you build a champion, when you build a dynasty, you don't do it, by just hauling everything you have into the middle of everything and paying as much money as you possibly can for it and just going, do something. No, you have to have a plan. There's a blueprint. So let me give you some advice from Mike Babcock, the quote that changed my life. And I mean, every time I try to read you guys a quote, it comes out so bad. But this time I'm not going to blow it because this is important to me. Babcock said, after a game last year, early in the season, when all of our excitement wore off and we started to lose a little, and how they're like, do you think this is because the media, blah, 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 blah. And now I lost my page.
Oh, and she lives by this quote.
I do live by this quote.
Countless times.
And I will continue to say it. To me, I said it to my brother, he said, that is the better statement of maturity than I read in 8 years in college studying psychology. Okay? This is real. When things go bad for you, it's no one's fault except your own. If you own everything you do, you're in control of it. As soon as you play the blame game, it's something else then. Now you're not in control of that anymore. And as a person in charge of your life, you want to be in control. There's nothing more important. So when you all think that somehow you're going to be able to find an excuse, that's what people did for years here, found an excuse for a loser. Even I did it. And I mean, Gretzky and Carrie Fraser and all that was an excellent excuse. It really was. But it's still an excuse.
There's something that we say in the recovery world. Recovery from addiction is what I mean here. There's no such thing as a victim, only volunteers.
Exactly. Exactly. There's things in the world you can live by. And I don't know. I wanted this episode to be more fun, and it will be in a minute. But you guys got to grow up. You have to grow up, okay? There is no more time for being bummed out. Okay. Now, about what people write on YouTube. This isn't in the script. There's nothing you can do about but it's on both sides. I
have Wi-Fi at my house, and my next-door neighbor apparently set up my printer to print on both sides of the paper, which is great that he's saving a tree on my behalf.
That's really sweet of him. Mm-hmm. So we're talking now. What I think I erased the rest of my notes, Mayor.
Right. Okay. Well, you said something about YouTube, and it's not in the notes.
No, I didn't mean YouTube. I can make a mistake too,
Oh my God, she's human.
Yes, I am, and I don't like to admit I'm wrong, but that's because that
You've
means.
gotten better about that.
Well, I'm going to have to learn then. But you got to tell me something tangible. And that's why I can't be on Facebook anymore. These aren't arguments, folks. They aren't arguments. You lay out a case. You lay out a beautiful, wonderful case. I've sent you stuff I've commented. Hasn't it seemed rather eloquent and badly typed, but still? No, I mean, you get the hang of it.
Did you ever take a debate class when you were in high school or college?
No, but I was a really good actress. I wanted
Because
to
play
a lawyer.
the setup for debate is we should do something like the theme for 1 year when I was in high school was ending world hunger. How do we end world hunger? So you come up with an idea of how to go about it, and then you have 3 reasons why you want to do it this way. And then the opposing team tries to tear it down. And then you have a rebuttal.
You mean with logical argument?
Exactly.
You mean they don't try to say, oh, look, I coach debate, so I'm totally right. Or, hey, you're drunk, okay? You must have brain damage. They didn't do that either?
No.
Did they try to say, look, who cares about this? World hunger.
We're all getting too heated up. Let's not talk about it.
That's right. We don't, none of us know anything.
Let's go get high and drunk.
Right. Well, then we'll be attacked on a different level. But, I mean, seriously, this is what it breaks down to? This is your idea of a reason to have a group activity of discussion? Why? I mean, somewhere in there is the idea that nobody likes doing this. And that's the part that really kills me. When you act this way, it's because you're trying to get through something. See, when I write my comments, I'm not trying to get through. I'm trying to express my incredible love of hockey, how hockey is everything to me.
Right. And you're not the only one that's having this type of reaction. Because I had to ask you, was this all personal? And it's not.
No.
You're seeing people be, well, I played, and therefore you should listen to what I have to say, and you don't know anything because you're a girl.
The girl, I didn't put that in there. Jeez. See, but
you're a girl, and you couldn't have possibly, but you know what? There are girls that played.
There's girls that played, but they didn't play. Well, now they play with men.
And they're not joining in on this conversation.
No, but I mean, there's nobody in this conversation who's saying, as a woman, you need to. But believe me, it gets close. The whole idea that accidentally having your head hit by some other contact is a bad thing, and we have to end head hits of all kinds, throw them out of the game. Everybody be out of the game. Why have a game? Exactly what mommy wants. Mommy doesn't like sports, it's dangerous. And there's no war right now, so why take a risk? Before, when there was a draft, Mommy thought she was getting off easy by having you play sports. No, there's truth to this, Mary.
I know there is.
And
it's ironic.
It is ironic. It's very ironic, and Mom is really sick of it. So, and I don't like to classify people, but it seems like the players who were like the most casual women fans, because real women fans of hockey are the best hockey knowledge. They have the best understanding of the game. And I mean, this is really, really true. I don't think, I don't like all of them. Not all of them like me, but I don't fundamentally disagree with their understanding of hockey. And that's because you have to be. If you're anything else, you're going to be like, fluffy. And you're going to be thinking, who would make a good husband? And stuff like that. Those girls are just, they love certain guys. Because they're all, like they could be on the soap opera or whatever. And those guys are often the guys who say this crap. Now, I'm not trying to say that's what happened here.
Right. You're not trying to pigeonhole anybody.
No, but I think, I'm a anthropology. I told you I was boring. I told you the things I think are boring. And now you're making me tell you. No, you're not making it. Nobody can make me do anything. Today I said, Facebook doesn't make me a bitch. I let Facebook make me a bitch. Because I can't listen to this. How are we going to learn? From each other. Not all learning is done by watching YouTube channels that you approve of, most of which all agree with you completely. Stop taking preaching from the choir. Stop being the choir to be preached to. It's a feedback loop. And it leads nowhere good. Okay? You have to look outside. You have to find things that rattle your bustle your head. Well, there we are back at that. You've got to feel it. Because I think then you'll be the kind of fan base that ideally should be in Toronto. The smartest fan base, the most cultured fan base, the most artistic fan base. You know, I don't ascribe other labels to it because then you get into a ticky-tacky area of, you know, people's little opinions and stuff. But I think this is what I think Shanahan's appealing to.
Do you think that these things are hurting the team?
Not right now, but I think they could. I think you put the wrong person in the wrong job, which can happen. And this kind of groundswell can swell up. And as long as it's just media and paid and otherwise making these comments, I think it's pretty safe as long as you have Babcock. But there's other coaches who would give away the store gladly, who would sit there and change their, I've seen them do it, change their opinion while they're being talked to, because they know, they read, they see. And yes, that's why you've got to hate to be wrong, but be able to admit it. It's like, you have to be able to admit it. However, when you too easily believe, like my community says, that you shouldn't think that, and you look and you go, well, I have the same outfit as you. I must be in your community. I must think what you think. You know, and again, I don't want to use the labels people use because I don't like to classify people. What they are is sheeple. Like, I love that. Where'd you get that from? And do they want to be led? Clearly. Why would you want to be led? Because you want an excuse. You want to be able to blame somebody. That's my dream. Not my dream. I had a dream that one day everybody would have somebody to blame.
And it's coming true.
No. I mean, I had this dream for ages when I was not thinking straight, when I wasn't okay, when I was suffering to get attention because it was the only way I thought I could be who I had once been and wanted to be again. And I just got deeper and deeper into it. And I had this dream that I was asking desperately, getting people, will you take me to work? I knew these people, they wouldn't do it. Will you take me home? I got to go home. Well, you know, and then one day, Austin Matthews suddenly is in my dream. And I say, can you take me to work? And he says, you only want somebody else to take you because you want someone to blame if it turns out you don't want to be there or it's not what you think it is. And I think he crushed a beer can. Now, you know, this is my brain. And then he threw it in a basket. I tell you, these are very, very cinematic. But scary. Now, this one was better. And he said, take your own damn self and stop wasting time. And I woke up in a cold sweat, which was not because of a dream. That's because of middle age here. That's because of menopause, okay? Wake up in a cold sweat. That's amusing. Stupid aging tricks. But, and since then I see the Babcock quote, and I had been through these other experiences. Jumping into a frozen lake in Minnesota was giving up my control completely when control is an issue for me. And I realized control freaks.
And when you jump into that water, your body stops moving. So you have to be pulled out by the people who are there to help you.
The minute you're in there.
So that's huge for somebody that has a control issue.
I couldn't believe I did it. I did it for Pauline Cave's kidney. She got a shiny new kidney, and everybody's very happy about it. But it was so profound for me. It helped save my life, too. And then when my mom's dying, she says to me, it's my fault. All these things I did to you. I really did do them. I've always said I didn't. I've always said you were bad and a horrible person and this and that. But it's not true. I did that to you. And
so she took responsibility, which allowed you the freedom to look at it in a
Right.
different way.
And maybe if I were younger, I would have needed to see her live it, and I wouldn't have ever believed it because I was so freshly in it. But with everything else that was going on for me, I realized that this control freak I was had no control at all. And that forechecking was how you control things. And that hockey was where I was the happiest in my whole life always, whether I was working, broadcasting, working for the teams, working for the leagues, or writing novels. Okay, and I just, this blueprint was like totally in harmony with that. And so, yeah, I mean,
And here we are.
here we are. Want to tell any jokes? Because I certainly didn't. No, this was kind of fun, I guess. I didn't have a bad time.
Did I tell you the story that my dad told at his birthday party
No,
about when he was in the military? They used to call him Bullshit Bachnik.
No.
And the reason why was because when my dad didn't believe something, he would say bullshit. And so you mentioned one of the things that I used to say in my drinking days, which I made it bigger. And I didn't realize that I got that from my dad, which is, this is a bunch of bullshit, and you're all assholes.
Well, it was the summing up of basically when you just, I mean, that is, when you're there, that's a perfect statement. I've never forgotten it. I've never forgotten a bunch of stuff she said, but we just haven't come to all of it yet. Like, Dawn, don't drop that wine. But
you can just guess what happened right after that.
Okay, we got to play tonight. We're going to play against the CBJ, and we were, you know, they were tough. They're a tough little hockey team, but I think we can do it. And Philadelphia, and we'll be back next week. And of course, we're going to be back. I promise.